Reporting from the Donald E. Young Center, KDSJ Local Sports, Clayson Davis sitting down with the head Black Hills State University football coach Josh Breske, recapping the action from their last contest. They win over New Mexico Highlands to end the regular season, and also giving a preview into what's to come with the Jackets coming up this offseason. Again, head coach Josh Breske sits down with us with KDSJ Local Sports. Coach Breske, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me on, Clayson.
First, talk about the win at New Mexico Highlands. You guys put up the most amount of points the final 2 weeks of the season with 48 against Highlands, 45 versus Adams than you had the entire year. What do you think has been the key to your offensive success here late in the season?
I think the guys just bought into a plan of just running the ball, especially the last 2 weeks of the season where we ran for 178 versus Adams State in week 10 and then 289 in week 11 versus New Mexico Highlands. And, our defense continues to play really good and put us in good situations and stop the run. At times throughout the season, we defended the pass extremely well also. But, we played really good team football the last couple weeks of the season.
What was the motivation for this game at the end of the season when you guys are out of contention for a conference championship and playoffs?
Yeah, I think a lot of those guys remember the last trip that we made down to Las Vegas. We were 5-0. We dropped the game to the Cowboys in a little bit of a rainy day, kind of an overcast day in October back in 2022. So I think our guys kind of remembered that, and we know that Highlands is what I like to call, and nothing negative about them, but they're kind of a snake in the grass where if you don't pay attention where you're going, they will jump up and bite you, and can obviously be deadly at times. And overall, we have not played great against New Mexico Highlands. And then the obvious factor is it's our seniors' last game playing, and we had 20 seniors out on that field. Wanted to honor those guys and send them off the right way.
You touched a little bit about your senior class this year, 20 seniors, most of which have played pretty much their entire college career under your tutelage. Talk a little bit about this year's senior class and what all they've contributed to the program.
Yeah, it's a combination of guys that were already on the roster from the 2019 season when I took over in January 2020, and really just a few guys, Levinsky Simon, Nick Arnold, Connor Boyd, Aaron Teal. Forgive me if I'm forgetting any, but there was very few left of that previous roster, and all those guys had decided to come back for an extra season. And so very honored by that decision with those guys. And, all of them were outstanding contributors for us as well. You got a really special group that bought into our system, that bought into our culture, that they care about one another, they care about retention, they work hard to educate the freshmen about the pitfalls of quitting and the pitfalls of failing class and the pitfalls of entering the portal. And so just a really, really special group, that carry the vision of me as the head coach and carry the culture of our program. This is a group that we recruited, and now we get to watch them graduate, and that's very special.
You have a lot of returning production as well on both sides of the ball. Very young on defense, especially along the defensive line and linebackers. And then, of course, your offense, a pretty young and new squad this past season. Who are you excited to help build off of on both sides of the ball heading into next season?
Yeah, I think about defensively first. We are returning Kellen Collier, we're returning Cooper Brown. Those guys will both be seniors for us next year on the defensive line. But there's some young guys I think that get skipped over quite a bit. I think about Rune T-Pult, who was really high up in tackles this year, playing linebacker for us as a redshirt freshman. Dallin Kennedy, is a 6'4" defensive end, also a redshirt freshman that got some serious playing time this year. And then as Isaiah Morales down inside as a defensive tackle. On offense, a little bit more obvious because we played quite a bit of freshmen on offense this year. You got redshirt freshman receivers Damian Boozer. You got true freshman Jaden Williams was highly productive for us this year. TJ Salmon ended up being our starting tight end throughout basically the majority of the season, and he played this year as a 6'6", 250-pound redshirt freshman tight end. So really excited about him. Navarre Dixon will be coming back again as probably our number 2 running back, with Cam Goods returning as a senior this next fall. But Navarre was lights out for us.
As you close the page on the 2024-2025 season, getting ready to kick off with recruiting and try to finish up a class for the 2025 season. Also, we'll be looking for a new offensive coordinator as well. Talk a little bit about the process of finding a new offensive coordinator and what the type of coach and style of offense that you'll want in your program next year.
Yeah, obviously anytime you're making a coaching change, it can be difficult. This isn't necessarily a place where we're in some metropolitan area where there's going to be a huge draw to this community. But I think people that understand what Black Hills State is, the Black Hills National Forest, us being, the third largest university in the state, and then having 3 back-to-back winning seasons, I would like to think that this would be an enticing job for applicants. But our plan right now is to open up the job and conduct a national search, a modern offense, not one that leans heavily towards air raid or the opposite way towards maybe a double wing, triple option type thing. We want to continue to be a modern shotgun offense and continue to spread out the field and utilize multiple personnels, including tight ends.
And finally, Coach, giving a little bit of a recruiting update, again, as you're trying to finalize the 2025 recruiting class. How does that class look so far? And who are you really excited about that will be playing in a Yellowjacket uniform coming this next season?
So right now we have 3 commits in the class of 2025. I'm hoping, to build this class up to 40 to potentially 45. Every year I feel like we say that and then we end up signing 50. But that's okay. It's tough to turn down good football players when we have the resources available to scholarship those athletes. But, per NCAA rules, can't really talk about anybody first name, last name basis until signing day has occurred. But just be assured, we're working extremely hard in all of our recruiting territories, whether it be California or Arizona, Colorado, South Dakota, Wyoming, and Western Nebraska, as a staff, and we know what each other are looking for within our position groups. And so areas of emphasis for us in recruiting, we have to bolster our offensive line numbers. It's always been an issue. Honestly, most places you go, it's kind of it's difficult to recruit good linemen and then keep them around. So we need to build that room up all over again. And then defensive back, where we graduated, I believe 7 DBs in total. It might have been 6, Clayson, but we gotta rebuild that room, and we have some good red shirts that are coming up to fill in and take some of those spots. But definitely be looking for 3 to 4 transfers, probably on defense alone. On offense, we could probably handle 1 or 2. We have 5 scholarship returning quarterbacks in Luke Doobie, Dayton Tafoya, Jackson Minor, Jake Blair, and Cade Weber, and I feel really good about that room. So there's definitely some areas of emphasis, but overall, I think we're further ahead right now than we typically are this time of year.
As the Yellowjackets finish this season with a 6-5 record, 5-4 in the RMAC Conference. It's their 3rd consecutive winning season, and then the projection arrow only just keeps heading upwards for the Black Hills State University Yellowjackets. For KDSJ Local Sports, I'm Clayson Davis reporting here in Spearfish.